Hi there, Carmen. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you. How are you?
Great, thank you. Yeah. Now you first got a camera, I believe, when you were about 10 years old, didn't you? Can you tell me a little bit about that? And then I maybe at that time or a bit later, what sort of what drew you to film as a storytelling medium?
Yeah, I got a camera when I was 10, and I think what I fell in love with first was theater. I thought I wanted to be an actor, and I still think I would like to act on stage, but not on film. But that's kind of what got me into storytelling, that and just watching The Wizard of Oz over and over and over. So I started like putting on live productions of Wizard of Oz, solo performances in my basement, but I would like build the sets and like spray paint curtains, and I just was always so uh, obsessed with telling a story in that visual way. And I think what drew me to film was yeah, it was Wizard of Oz, it was Titanic, and I started seeing how the camera can be a character, and I realized I could kind of itch that acting bug that I had with my camera operating, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Some amazing shows must have been put on in basements and homes around the world by little queer kids, I think.
I
Yeah.
would say so.
So tell me a bit about the inspiration for Plainclothes when it came to writing the screenplay.
Yeah, I was inspired by a case that happened in Long Beach where police officers were entrapping men in a Long Beach, California park bathroom in 2014. I read an article in 2016, and it was a few years after I came out, and I was these feelings of anxiety started to resurface that I thought were filed away after I came out, but they never really went away. They just came back a lot stronger. And I started looking inward, and I really looked. A lot of my work I do in therapy is like if I'm experiencing a feeling um, that maybe takes me out of a moment, I trace back like when I to where I first felt that feeling. And so I found myself just going back to my childhood when I was tracing my anxiety back. And it kind of landed me in 1997, which is where I set the film. And I really wanted to revisit that time, and I wanted to explore what it feels like to police your feelings, which was a source of my anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that around that time, I think it was 1998, the George Michael Outside video came out. And I hadn't thought about it until, I was getting ready to interview you, but it's kind of interesting because that was such a sort of rebuke to the shame that the police were trying to lay on him, and I guess society at large to some degree. And he was like, "No, I'm not having any of that." And
I love
um,
that. He was arrested, I think, in December of 97, I
mm,
think. Um, I was really careful about making sure my movie wasn't set after that music video. But these entrapments have been, I was just in Long Beach for a panel, and I found out that there was in Orange County, I believe, officers entrapping men in a little movie theater in 2019. So it's just, yeah, it's just, it's kind of shocking to me. Yeah.
and you shot this in Syracuse. What was that like to shoot there? And is that where the movie palace is? Because that's such a stunning location. Yeah.
Yeah, that's called the Landmark Theater. It was a vaudeville theater, I think, in the 20s. Now it mostly has like touring productions performed. We kind of made it look like a movie theater. I really wanted a beautiful space for them to have their first intimate conversation, even though they were doing it in hiding. I wanted a space that reflected how I felt like Lucas might feel inside Golden. Um, and so it was such a dream to shoot there. It was a dream to shoot in Syracuse, in my hometown. So many people showed up to help us on this film. My family is all over this film. My brother, I used some of my home video footage of my brother in the football helmet where he plays younger Lucas. My niece got to be on set. My nana and my grandma got to come visit set. Um, that was always kind of like my dream, and it was really full circle and beautiful to return to the place where kind of these feelings started, but then to come back and feel embraced and supported by the community. It was incredible, and the film community in Syracuse is the best, like top notch, incredible crew. It's I feel really privileged that a infrastructure like that exists in my hometown.
And the first scene, actually, where they meet in the bathroom stall, is really romantic, and I love the way these characters just look at each other the whole way through. But what was your approach to shooting those restroom scenes? Because there isn't, there could have been like an ominous tone of like, oh, this is, a scary place, or sort of almost like a judgmental, authorial tone or something like that. But yeah, talk a bit about your approach to that.
I'm a romantic at heart, and I know that with cruising, especially, I feel like there is a tendency to just go towards the edginess and the darkness of it and the mystery, which I love. And that's like I wanted the film to capture that mystery. But I felt like in a moment where he's connecting with someone for the first time, I believe in love at first sight. I believe in true love, and and I wanted him to experience that in this situation that's normally painted in another way. I think that what's so cool about cruising is it really exists in the cracks of society. And when I started imagining them kind of meeting in the cracks, I imagined this like glow. And that's what I wanted to capture on screen.
Yeah. And there's such great chemistry between your two leads. Like, how did you come to cast them, and what excited you about, putting them together?
Oh yeah, I mean, I kind of wrote the role for Russell subconsciously in some ways. Tom, I didn't really know about just because he was new. Um, but yeah, it was a dream that they both said yes. I knew Tom was the person immediately when he popped up on a Zoom, and the light was just right, and it hit his eyes, and so much of the main character, it's acting in the eyes, which is very hard to do, and Tom does it beautifully, and there's such a history in his eyes. And they made it really hard in the editing room because there's so many performances that I wish people could see, so many choices that people can't see. The ones that are supposed to be in there are in there, but they were just like geniuses to work with. So, and same with the whole cast. We won Best Ensemble at Sundance, and I think it's because everyone was just so present for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a striking visual style. Tell me a bit about how you came up with that, and maybe how it reflects some of the themes of the film too.
Yeah, I mean it's a movie about like surveillance of feelings. And so when I was really inspired by a movie called The Conversation, and I loved how it depicted paranoia in like zooms and sound design. So that was kind of a big inspiration. But in terms of using the high footage to represent what Lucas sees, I just realized that my memories from childhood were in that high format because that's how I would capture them and like review them on a computer. And I wanted his memory to look like that. And then, but I also wanted to play with the idea of like when you police your feelings, maybe you're not remembering things as they actually happened. You're remembering like a fragmented version. And I wanted to show that. And I found high was just a great visual way to reflect memory as well, because that's how kind of we experience it as a culture now, looking, when we look at old home videos. So yeah, that was kind of like how the visual style happened. And and Eric, the editor, and I were really careful with how we flashed these images, because the flashing of images, we really wanted it to reflect anxiety and what it means to us, which is it's like the rushing of unprocessed thoughts. Yeah.
So I've got one final question for you, and it's a broad one. It's for your favorite piece of LGBTQ plus culture. So it could be a film, a TV series, book, music, artwork, any piece of culture you like, or a person who identifies as LGBTQ plus. So someone or something that's had an impact on you and resonated with you over the years, and why.
I feel like the person that keeps coming up in my mind is Judy Garland. I don't know if she's considered in this camp, but I feel like she kind of is. I feel like our community would agree that she is a fixture in our community. Um, I would say she's been a huge inspiration in my life. Yeah. I don't know. Does that answer it in the way that you? for imagining her.
Well, it's nice because it takes us back to you were saying you watch Wizard of Oz over and over again as a
Yeah.
child, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a safety with her that I feel like, and I feel like I feel like a lot of what she may have gone through or and how she carried herself through the world with such humor and wit, even though there was periods of like darkness and sadness, like she chose to have fun and she wanted her life to be remembered as such. And I just feel like I can relate to that as a queer person. Like oftentimes queer people are the funniest people that I know and they're so witty and smart. And even though we experience such darkness, and I think choosing that light is really important. I feel like she did that for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Carmen, thanks so much, and congratulations again on Plain Clothes.
Thank you so much.